Here, your elected leaders are very important to my campaign, and certainly I have worked with every one of these in our room, and Lyle when he was a commissioner, and I can't wait to work with him when he's in the state legislature. But I've worked with them, and they know how much I've done for San Antonio, and I'm just going to keep right on helping this great city add to its wonderful aura that is really our tourist center of Texas, and we appreciate it. I am going to talk today about a policy initiative, and it's probably one of my most important. As I have looked at the tenure of governors in our state, I have said that I think our governor is trying to stay too long. And the reason is because that leads to more power, and more power that is being abused. When I look at our great governors, Sam Houston, Alan Shivers, John Connally, George W. Bush, Bill Clements, they served within the two-term limits that I am proposing. And they made a huge impact on our state because they did something important and they were great leaders. Now we have a governor that wants to serve, but he is really bordering on just abusing power because he's been there so long, and he's trying to take away so many of the rights that we Texans have. First, I will offer a constitutional amendment to limit the terms of governor to 2 terms. 8 years for an executive officer is enough. This is a person that we now know controls every board, every commission, every board of regents, and we also have seen now the instances where he is trying to apply pressure to those appointees to do his will. I want my appointees to do the will of the state, to do what is best for the state, and I'm not going to be asking them to do things that are out of my responsibility as governor. Number 2. The governor has vetoed legislation. He has surprised legislators because they didn't know he was against their bills. He vetoes it at the end of the session so that there's no opportunity to override. I want a veto override session so that our legislators have the chance to come back. Many times these are bills that have passed unanimously or overwhelmingly in both houses of the legislature, and then all of a sudden there's a surprise veto. I will do 2 things. I want to have a veto override session to give more power to the legislature. And secondly, if I am governor, I will make it a policy that when one house has passed a bill, that when it goes to the other side of the rotunda, I will be there if I've got concerns right then and tell the authors of the legislation what my problems are to see if we can work it through together. Number 2, it is very important, or number 3, it is very important that we have the nominees for boards and commissions be made in a timely manner. For instance, there are so many holdover appointments during Governor Perry's 9 years in office that sometimes they've lasted for months, sometimes years, which means that the state senate does not get their right to confirm nominees, which gives, again, more power to the governor and less to the state senate, which under the Constitution has the right to approve nominees by the governor. I will make it official that anyone who is not going to be reappointed after a term is up will either be notified that they're going to be not appointed, but we will have a new person in that office within 6 weeks so that the work of the state will be done in the way that the Constitution and our founding fathers intended it to be. I think we need to reform the Texas Enterprise Fund. It has a very good purpose to try to bring business into our state. But it has become a little bit of a playground for Governor Perry. Now we have the governor saying that we're going to give money to institutions without very much outside input that has any teeth in it. I will propose a business roundtable made up of professionals, of business people and people who are professionals in knowing how to attract business to our state. And there will have to be a consensus that these will be good jobs for Texas and that we will have a chance to bring them in. I think we need to make sure that members of regulatory boards that have authority to license or make decisions about another person's business opportunity will not be able to solicit campaign contributions or endorsements of the people they regulate. This is something that I have seen firsthand be abused, and I hope that we can end that opportunity with ethics reform. It is time to end the revolving door of people who serve in high government positions and in the governor's office to then rotate out into the lobby, take on clients that they helped while they were in the governor's office, and then sometimes come right back into the governor's office to help their former clients, and then they rotate back out to take those clients back. That's a revolving door that is making our heads spin. It is time that we have a moratorium on high government officials that leave the service of the government before they can represent clients before those same agencies and in the governor's office, the same businesses. And last but not least, it is very important that we propose a limit on what lobbyists can spend on elected officials. It is time that we have a $500 limit on the entertainment and food and beverage that can be gotten for an elected official, so that the people of Texas know that everyone will have access. I think it is time for government reform and ethics reform in our state. Now that we are moving into a new era of transparency in government, it's time that our members of the governor's office and the governor himself or herself have some standards that all Texans will know are there. Transparency standards and conflict of interest standards. It's time for the sunshine to come into Austin, Texas, and into our governor's office, and I will propose that and make it one of the key areas of reform that I will introduce and work with our legislators to produce. Thank you.
We can take a couple questions real quickly.
Is the $500 limit an annual deal or a per evening?
Oh, no, annual. It would be an annual restriction. Or evening. Oh, there are lots of abuses out there.
How about I go to